Good morning/afternoon/evening everyone. Today, I want to speak to you about something simple in theory, but powerful in practice. Control, not control over others, not control over the world, but something much deeper, control over yourself. Specifically, your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. These four areas shape the direction of your life more than anything external ever could. Master them, and you master your path. 1. Master your mouth. Speak with purpose, not impulse. Words are powerful. They can build bridges or burn them. They can bring peace or provoke conflict. So many of us lose control not through what we do, but through what we say. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and regretted it seconds later? That's why we must control our mouth. Speak with intention, not emotion. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. When you control your mouth, you stop leaking energy, respect, and peace. 2. Train your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality. Everything starts in the mind. You can't control what thoughts show up, but you can control which ones stay. You are not your doubts, your distractions, or your fears. You are the one who decides what to feed your mind. Train it, strengthen it, challenge it. Choose thoughts that build you up, not break you down. A focused mind creates focused results, and a mind out of control, that's a mind easily manipulated by anything and everything. 3. Manage your mood. Emotional control is inner power. We all feel anger, sadness, joy, anxiety. It's part of being human, but feelings are not commands. You don't have to act on every emotion that shows up. Controlling your mood doesn't mean you suppress it. It means you guide it. Instead of reacting, respond. Instead of exploding, reflect. Peace is not the absence of chaos. It's the ability to remain calm in chaos. When you manage your mood, you stop being a puppet of your feelings and start being the master of your moments. 4. Discipline your money. Spend with vision, not emotion. Money is not just currency, it's energy. And if you don't control it, it will control you. We live in a world that teaches us to spend for status, to consume for comfort, and to buy for the sake of image. But financial freedom doesn't come from how much you earn. It comes from how well you manage. Control your spending, budget with intention, save for your future, not just your desires. Don't let short-term emotions rob your long-term security. 5. Balance is key. These areas are all interconnected. If your mood is off, your money decisions suffer. If your mind is scattered, your mouth will speak recklessly. These four areas aren't isolated. They're intertwined. Self-control is not just about willpower, it's about alignment. When your words, thoughts, emotions, and finances are in check, your life flows with clarity and confidence. 6. Choose self-mastery daily. It's a lifelong commitment. Let me be honest. This isn't a one-time fix. Controlling your mouth, mind, mood, and money is a daily choice. There will be days you slip. That's okay. What matters is that you recommit, because self-control isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up for yourself again and again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Final words. Your greatest competition is not someone else. It's the part of you that wants to stay comfortable. But comfort never creates growth. So today I challenge you. Control your mouth, control your mind, control your mood, control your money, and in doing so, watch your life transform from the inside out. Thank you. Let's start with the one thing we all use every day. Our mouths. We talk, we text, we post. We express opinions, crack jokes, give advice, argue, and sometimes say things we wish we could take back. In a world where communication is constant, we often forget just how powerful our words are. The mouth is a tool for connection, but when left unchecked, it becomes a weapon. How many relationships have been broken not by actions, but by words? How many opportunities have been lost because someone couldn't keep their ego from speaking first? One of the most underrated forms of self-mastery is learning when not to speak. There's a part of the brain responsible for inhibition, essentially the ability to pause, to hold back. When that part is strong, we think before we speak. We respond instead of react. But when it's weak or fatigued, we blurt out things we regret. Words spoken in frustration, sarcasm, or insecurity don't just disappear. They linger in the minds of others and in your own. But here's the hopeful part. Like any muscle, that pause can be trained. You can practice catching the moment between impulse and expression. Sometimes, silence is wisdom. Not every opinion needs to be aired. Not every disagreement requires a debate. You gain power the moment you realize you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. And this isn't about being passive or quiet. It's about being intentional. Use your words to build, not destroy, to guide, not confuse, to speak truth, not just noise. A well-timed compliment, a calm response in conflict, a decision to say nothing when provoked. These are not small things. They're signs of discipline, signs of strength. Every time you speak, you reveal your mind, so ask yourself, is what I'm about to say necessary? Is it kind? Is it true? Is it useful? The more you practice this filter, the less you speak to prove something, and the more you speak to move something. People often talk about controlling outcomes, but the most immediate, life-altering control you have is over your own mouth. When you master that, you're not just protecting your peace, you're shaping your entire path. Let's shift focus to the mind, because if the mouth reveals your thoughts, the mind is where those thoughts begin, and here's the truth, your life is shaped by what your mind repeats. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your reality. If you constantly feed your mind with worry, chaos, and criticism, your experience of life starts to reflect that. But if you learn to guide your thoughts, really take ownership of them, you start to create from a place of clarity and intention. Now, we all have thousands of thoughts a day. Most of them are automatic. Some are helpful, but many are not. The mind loves to wander into the past, into imagined problems, into old fears and future scenarios that may never happen. But you don't have to believe every thought you think. Just because a thought arises doesn't mean it's true or useful or deserves your full attention. There's a practice I teach often, learning to observe your thoughts without immediately reacting to them. When a negative thought shows up, I'm not good enough, this won't work, they don't like me, instead of agreeing with it, pause, label it for what it is, a mental event, not a fact. That simple awareness puts space between you and the thought. And in that space, you regain control. We can actually rewire the brain to favor clarity over confusion, focus over distraction. The more you practice deliberate thinking, what I call intentional mental reps, the more your brain begins to default to it. It's not about becoming a robot or ignoring emotion. It's about choosing which thoughts to nurture and which to let pass like clouds in the sky. And here's something else. The environment your mind lives in matters. What you read, who you listen to, how much noise you consume, these all influence your mental patterns. If you're constantly feeding your brain shallow content or emotional chaos, don't be surprised when your thoughts feel scattered and reactive. Be intentional about what enters your mental space. Your mind is not a runaway train. You have the ability to redirect it, focus it, and condition it. When you do that consistently, it becomes one of your greatest allies. You start responding to life rather than reacting to it, and that shift, that's where self-mastery really begins. Now let's talk about something we all feel, but many of us struggle to manage our mood. Emotions are part of being human. We get angry, we get anxious, we feel joy, frustration, envy, hope. The issue isn't that we feel, it's what we do with those feelings that shapes our lives. Mood is like internal weather, it shifts. But if you don't learn to recognize and regulate it, you'll end up living at the mercy of every passing emotional storm. One of the most important forms of control is emotional control. Not repression, control. There's a big difference. Repression means you push the feeling down and pretend it doesn't exist. Control means you acknowledge it, but you don't let it steer the wheel. You notice it, but you don't let it speak for you or act for you. That difference is everything. Most people think emotions just happen to them. They wake up in a bad mood and the rest of the day is ruined. Someone triggers them and they lash out without thinking. But the truth is, you can train your nervous system, literally train it, to slow down before reacting. That pause, that moment between the emotion and the response, is where your power lies, and it's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about developing emotional awareness. Ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Where is it coming from? Is this a real problem or just an old story my body's holding on to? Just naming the emotion, this is frustration, this is fear, begins to separate you from it. You stop being inside the emotion and start observing it from a distance. That alone changes how you move. Another key, stop relying on your mood to determine your actions. You don't need to feel like it to do the right thing. Motivation is a luxury. Discipline is the standard. So even when the mood is low, get up. Stay grounded, stay kind, stay focused. That's the work. That's the rewiring. When you learn to sit with difficult emotions without immediately reacting, you gain a quiet kind of strength. The world doesn't shake you the same way. People don't trigger you the same way. You become less reactive and more intentional, and when your emotions stop running your life, everything starts to shift. Let's talk about money, not in terms of how to make it, but how to manage it, because money is one of those things that reveals who we are under pressure. It's tied to emotion, identity, even our sense of security. But when money is undisciplined, it doesn't just drain your bank account. It drains your focus, your confidence, and your future. A lot of people think they have money problems, but really, they have decision problems. It's not just about income, it's about behavior. It's about the little emotional decisions that add up. The impulse buys, the I deserve this splurges, the spending to impress people who aren't even paying attention. Most financial stress doesn't come from not having enough. It comes from not having control, and that control begins with self-awareness. Ask yourself, when do I spend most recklessly? When I'm bored? When I'm anxious? When I want to feel successful for a moment? The truth is, money is emotional long before it's logical. And if you don't understand the emotions behind your spending, you'll stay stuck in the same cycle no matter how much you earn. Start seeing money as a mirror. It reflects your discipline. It reveals your patterns. If you can't manage $100, having $10, 0 won't fix the issue. That's why developing a mindset of stewardship, of responsibility, is key. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional, and it's not just about restriction. It's about alignment. Are you spending in ways that match your values, or just reacting to the world around you? It's about creating enough margin in your life to breathe, so you're not living check to check emotionally, mentally, or financially. There's a kind of peace that comes when you know where your money is going. When you're not guessing, when you're not hiding from your bank statements, that clarity spills over into every other area of your life. You make sharper decisions. You feel more grounded. You stop tying your worth to your wallet. Money will never define you, but your relationship with it will reflect your maturity. So the goal isn't just financial success. It's financial self-control, because when you can control your money, you stop letting it control you. And that's where real freedom begins. There's something important to understand about all of this, these areas. Your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money don't operate in isolation. They're not separate battles. They're connected, and the way you handle one directly affects the others. Think about it. If your mood is out of control, you're more likely to say something you'll regret. If your mind is scattered and filled with negative self-talk, your emotions spiral, and suddenly your spending becomes a coping mechanism. One breakdown triggers another, but the good news is the reverse is also true. Master one area, and it strengthens the others. The real key here is balance. Self-mastery isn't about obsessing over one part of your life while the rest falls apart. It's about creating a steady rhythm, a kind of inner alignment, where your thoughts, emotions, words, and financial decisions are working together, not against each other. You might be the kind of person who's great at managing money but can't seem to stay calm in conflict. Or maybe you speak well in public but can't silence your own inner critic. That gap is where imbalance lies, and if you don't address it, it shows up eventually in your relationships, your work, your peace of mind. Balance doesn't mean you'll never fall off center. It means you're aware enough to correct course when you do. You catch yourself sooner, you recover faster. That's what control gives you. It doesn't eliminate struggle, it reduces the time you spend stuck in it. When your words are aligned with your values, when your thoughts support your vision, when your emotions don't hijack your behavior, and when your money habits reflect your priorities, that's when your life begins to move with power and clarity. So it's not just about controlling these 4 areas individually. It's about understanding how they influence one another. Because no matter how disciplined you are in one area, if another is neglected, it pulls the rest down. You can't outrun emotional chaos with financial planning. You can't overtalk a restless mind. It all has to work together. It's about creating internal harmony so that your life isn't just reactive. It's intentional, steady, and strong from the inside out. Let's be honest, this kind of self-control, the kind we've been talking about, isn't something you achieve once and never think about again. It's not a switch you flip. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily discipline. A commitment you make again and again, sometimes moment by moment. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. It's easier to chase hacks or wait for motivation to strike. But mastery doesn't come from moments of inspiration. It comes from repetition, from showing up even when it's hard. There will be days you don't feel like being mindful with your words, days your thoughts are loud and your emotions are heavy, days when spending money on a quick fix feels easier than sitting with discomfort. That's normal, but discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it just asks what you'll do next. And it's in those small, often invisible decisions that your future is being shaped. Self-control isn't rigid. It's not about being cold or distant or perfect. It's about being rooted. It's about being the kind of person who doesn't need chaos to feel alive, who doesn't let the external world dictate the internal one. It's about choosing alignment over impulse, clarity over comfort, growth over ease. That doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that requires patience, self-respect, and a deeper reason why you want to change. You don't practice control because it looks good. You practice it because it keeps you grounded when life tries to knock you off balance. You practice it because you've seen what happens when you don't. You've felt the cost of letting your mouth go unchecked, your mind run wild, your mood lead the way, or your money escape without direction. That's why you keep coming back to the work, even when no one sees it, even when no one claps for it. The real strength isn't in never slipping up. It's in catching yourself, correcting course, and continuing anyway. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Over time, those small decisions turn into habits. Those habits shape your character, and that character becomes your identity.